guys, welcome. Master Tech Rob here. Today's video, I'm going to show you the top 10 chemicals that you're going to use as a technician. Most of you probably use these. Some of you guys are starting out. Some of these chemicals are what I recommend for certain situations. So let's get started. Alright, first off is obviously going to be the brake clean. This is the AutoZone kind. I personally like the CRC, but the price isn't really cost effective. They all do the job mostly, so. Brake clean, you're going to use that for lots of things. Obviously, number one use is for doing brakes, cleaning up the rotors, getting the film, the protective grease off of it that keeps them from rusting when they're in the shipping package. There's that. There's going to be for cleaning many different kinds of parts. Degreasing. Some people may not have a wash tank, so this guy does the job. Another use I use it for, honestly, is trying to diagnose like fuel pumps. I'll spray some brake cleaner in there, and brake cleaner can run. Carb cleaner, it will not run. Brake cleaner, it will. And if you can keep it running, you know, that's gonna specify that it could be a fuel issue. So if it doesn't run on it, then you're gonna have another issue timing your spark. All right, next chemical is going to be Permatex Antiseize. This one's lasted me quite a while. I really don't use this one that much. You're going to use this to get on fasteners that you're going to want to take off again in the future that aren't necessarily a safety issue. Safety bolt, like let's say you don't Loctite them, then this would be a good thing to use. Honestly, what some people do that I've seen, it sucks working on it, but when some people put these on their hubs and then they go to put their rotor on, and honestly it works and it keeps the corrosion away from ever happening. So it's like on your own vehicles, yeah, that'd be cool. I mean, it takes time, it takes a lot of the stuff, but I mean, I've seen that a lot of times, and then I clean it off when I'm doing somebody's brakes and there's no rust there, so that's pretty cool. All right, next up is gonna be CRC brake and caliper grease. All right, this stuff's pretty good. Honestly, a lot of people have their opinions on, oh, I like to use this, I like to use that. It really doesn't matter. This stuff's a decent price. I've had good luck with it. This stuff's great. Temperature range up to 600 degrees. Prevents any squeaking, so a lot of people put this on the back of their pads where the plates are at. Some manufacturing companies don't make those shims on the pads out of like a really nice coated metal. Sometimes you can get some squeakiness out of there. Squeaks come from quick vibrations inside the braking system, so like the hardware or those brake shims. A lot of times people will put this on there, coat it on the back, light coat, put this on their hardware, underneath their hardware to prevent any corrosion. A lot of people use this. Always grease up your slide pins. Even if there's already grease in it, dip it back in and get some grease in there. You always want that to stay free flowing in there. Obviously we want customers to come back, but I want them to be happy. So always grease up your caliper slides every time you're doing pads. What I usually do is I take my caliper pin, dip it around in here, shove it in there, lock it back in the boot, play with it a few times, and then you're good. Alright, next off is going to be just a silicone lubricant. I have PB Blaster here. It doesn't really matter which brand. They're all pretty similar from what I've tried. I use them for getting O-rings and O-rings on mostly, stuff like that. Sometimes like a throttle cable, the boot. This is very helpful for helping it slide on, and it's not like over like crazy greasy, slippery, anything like that. This is not as harsh as some of those other chemicals. All right, next up is gonna be your thread lockers or Loctite, whatever you want to call them. Red and blue. Always have these. It's very handy to have these. It gives you peace of mind as a technician, knowing you're working on many of these vehicles a day. You're pulling their cradles and then you put them back up. On an intermediate shaft bolt where the steering wheel connects to the pinion or drive gear, you always want to use thread locker on that. That's one of the biggest. That is probably the biggest safety bolt on a vehicle. If that comes apart, it's not going to be good, so I highly recommend always using thread locker on that. Next off I got is Dielectric Grease. I always use this when you're not even just doing a tune-up, any electrical connector, light bulbs. It helps a lot, and you guys with the GMs probably know about this. There's been big issues with GM not putting dielectric grease or anything in their newer trucks, they always spit out these harnesses. The harnesses corrode and they go bad. So if you have a 15 or newer, I believe it's 15 or newer, GM truck, 1500, 2500, those taillight harnesses in the back, those get corroded very bad. They'll just quit, your brake lights won't work. So I recommend, if you have a 2015 or newer, go throw some dielectric grease on there. You can buy this anywhere, AutoZone, O'Reilly's, it doesn't matter. That is going to save you a lot, because those harnesses are 70 bucks a piece and they take a little bit to install. They're not too bad to install at all. Just going to get some dirt in your eyes probably. Alright, next up I got is Ultra Copper Gasket Maker. I always throw these on exhaust when I am doing R&R on an exhaust system, and we don't have an exhaust gasket. If the exhaust gasket's still good, I still might even throw some of this on there for extra assurance. Exhaust leaks are not healthy. No customer wants an exhaust leak, especially if they have a little one in the car or anything. So this helps me get peace of mind knowing that their exhaust isn't going to leak. I always seal this up, even with a gasket. This stuff is really good. It's always done the job for me, and it doesn't stink bad like that red stuff either. So I highly recommend this if you're going to do that. Next off is super glue. You're going to be using this a lot. There's going to be, you're going to run into a time where you accidentally break a plastic tab. You're going to have to try to, super glue it, make it good. Hopefully we don't have to replace that part, but if we have to, we have to. Very good for helping, putting a nut in a socket and then trying to get it started. It helps you be able to hold it in your socket if you have a long reach to go. Alright, if you have a hard to get to spot and it's really hard to get to, you can put some super glue on your nut, you can put it on or bolt, you can go down, you can get it situated, and you can try to screw it in a lot easier. So that's when super glue comes in big handy for you. And to be honest, I'm just throwing in an extra one here. I also use some black Gasket Maker or whatever type of greasy, thick stuff. I'll even use that on a bolt, get it started. It will make a little bit of a mess in your socket, but it dries up, you can scrape it out. Definitely helpful for getting a lot of bolts started. Alright, next off is going to be Gasket Maker. Like I was just saying, this stuff is the best stuff I've used, honestly, since I've switched to this stuff. It's called Bright Stuff Gasket Maker. Permatex makes it. It's actually in kind of like a Cheese Whiz can. This stuff is great. This stuff, I use this on oil pans, trans pans, timing covers. My biggest thing is a 3/6 timing cover. It's a very big timing cover. Actually, I have one. So I do a lot of 3/6 timing, and this is so useful on this timing cover. You got to go everywhere around this, and then there's little spots in here, and it's that stuff, man. You're not going to have a leak again, but whoever has to take the timing cover off again is probably not going to be happy. There's that, and then one extra. It's not really a chemical or anything, but it's a very helpful tool. Paint marker, just red, yellow, whatever. This is very useful if you're doing like a wheel bearing or changing a upper control arm or such. This helps you. You should always do an alignment, but if the customer turns away the alignment and there's nothing you can do about it, the camber, marking your camber bolts areas, even marking. I think it's a good idea to always dot on the oil plug that it's torqued. I think that's always a really good idea. Even some timing covers, if they're degrees, dotting after you degree it so you don't go back over and accidentally degree it and strip it out. Probably won't happen, but that's another instance where this thing could come in handy. Paint marker is always good to have sitting in your box.
Alright guys, I almost forgot. Number 10 is Seafoam Deep Creep. This is the best penetrating oil or lubricant that I have ever used. This stuff takes almost anything off. I mean, obviously there's going to be some stuff that's probably not going to come off, or without heat, or there's some stuff that ultimately has to be broken for it to come off. So, but this stuff, hands down, is the best stuff I've tried. I've tried other stuff, Kimball Midwest, all the PB blasters, WD-40. It does not compare to this. So I learned about this by watching Project Farm's video on the best penetrating oils to use, and this sparked my interest, so I went and tried it, and I fell in love with this stuff. Shout out to Project Farm. Thank you for that. I highly recommend this, and you guys, if you haven't tried it, go pick up a can. You're going to notice a big difference with it.
Alright guys, that concludes the video on the top chemicals you will use as a technician. Please comment below. I always read all the comments. If you guys liked it, thumbs up, subscribe. There'll be many other videos just like this. Thanks guys. See ya.